You cannot spell Kenny Omega without OMG. Lots of title changes, lots of interesting matches, and we're set up for the next 3 pay-per-views for Impact as we're looking for Under Siege, Against All Odds, and of course Slammiversary. And we have a brand new AEW and Impact World Heavyweight Champion. So much to uncover as we review Impact's Rebellion pay-per-view. We're reviewing Impact Rebellion at 1:49 in the morning. That is dedication. But we had 8 stellar matches on this card, and Impact Rebellion did not disappoint. We start with a triple threat match for the X Division Championship between TJP, Ace Andrews, and Josh Alexander. Now, Ace Andrews is just the future. This is what I've realized while watching this match. He is the absolute future of this business. TJP, of course, is TJP. And Josh Alexander wins the X Division Championship in a classic triple threat match. Now, if this was maybe your first Impact pay-per-view or you've just never watched Impact, the X Division matches are amazing. You could literally go, I think, to any era of Impact, even go back to when they were like Global Force or when they were TNA. Every single X Division matches, fantastic. And this was just a hard-hitting triple threat match, constant back and forth action, constant near falls, flips, dives, you name it, we saw it. And little shock Josh Alexander won. I was kind of hoping for TJP, but I'll take it. You know, I think because there were so many people going to watch this pay-per-view that a lot of new champions were going to be crowned and a lot of new faces are going to be presented on Access TV come Thursdays. Next, we have our little fun 8-man tag team match between James Storm, Eddie Edwards, Chris Sabin, and Willie Mack versus Violent by Design. But Eric Young did not participate because we had the debut of W. Morrissey, also known as XL, also known as Big Cass. Now, this was reported earlier in the day that Big Cass was going to make an Impact debut, but we really didn't know how. And this was just such a fun 8-man tag team match. I felt like all 8 individuals got their time to shine, the faces got their time to be faces, heels got their turn to be heels. Of course, W. Morris gets the win for Violent by Design and looks like a monster throughout the match. Now, I'm just hoping that Endo is not going to follow him and that's just going to be Cass. But I'm excited to see what he does in Impact. I mean, I'm not saying right now to challenge Kenny because that's way too soon. But, you know, have him be with Violent by Design for a little bit. Yeah, him and Young, that's fun. But yeah, this was just a really fun 8-man tag team match. I enjoyed it very much so. And then we had a little bit of a scare here for Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. So this was a pretty good match. As I said on my predictions, anytime best friends wrestle each other, it's always a really good match. But I don't know if this injury was real or not because there was an X. So basically, so the first scare was actually they did like, I forgot the move Cardona did. He did like a suplex, I think, or like he did like one of his like knee things, and he came down hard on like his hamstring, and he was like holding it, and I was like, okay, like that's understandable. It's on the ramp. The ramp is like the hardest part of like the entrance or just like the stage in general. And so then where the X went up was Cardona was going for his high knee and he like bobbled and his knee kind of buckled. And then like the X went up, so I was like, okay, cool. And then Brian Myers, you know, ultimate heel trying to help his friend and then stabs him in the back, does 2 moves and the match is over. So I don't know if it's real. I mean, I know Cardona was like tweeting, it's like, oh, hopefully it's a scare, you know, my kneecap's back in place, but I don't really know. But this was a pretty good match despite the injury. I mean, I don't, like, if he is really injured, I kind of don't want to judge this match just because he was technically fighting with an injury. But I don't know. hope he's okay. Prayers out to Matt Cardona. I did like his tribute to Chelsea Green because at one point he did her finisher. Hot mess. So, props to you. Feel better. Hope it's not a serious injury. And then we go on to new women's tag team champions, where we crown Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering with those tag titles as they take them off Fire and Flava. This was a pretty good match. I'm happy that Rachel Ellering is actually, okay. She was rehabbing from a knee injury, I believe, so glad you're okay. This was a good showing by her, especially because I don't think she's been in like a major company. I think she's always strictly been on the indies. So a lot of people, this was like her, her first showing. I think she might have been the Mae Young Classic, but I don't 100% know, but I'm like 95% sure she was. But this was a really good showing by her, and her and Jordan like very much had chemistry. I like that Jazz was accompanying them as well because of the stuff that's been going on in Impact, and Jordan and Jazz were partners going into the tournament, and Jazz is still here even though she's retired, but I like it. But like I said, it's very good chemistry. I thought the match was really good. I thought Fire and Flava also worked really well together as well. All four of them just had very good chemistry and they worked together really well. So I was okay with this match. Don't know who they're gonna verse next though. Yeah, I don't know who they're gonna wrestle next. I feel like in my head I could, name everyone who's in that tournament, and then I'm like, oh, but who's still together as a tag team? So yeah, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do on Thursday, and just throughout their time reign. But very excited for Rachel Ellering, my girl. And then we gotta talk about Sami Callihan and Trey Milligan. So this, to me, I was really much anticipating this match because this is like Sami's wheelhouse. Last man standing, hardcore, all that stuff. But I don't know. I don't know if maybe because like Trey is just like a high flyer and Sami's like more ground based, that I just felt like their it just didn't mix. I kind of like the one thing I did like, and I'll go into commentary when we go to the main event, but I like when they did the botch and like they missed the table completely. Matt Tracker's like, oh my god, they didn't break the table. Or when Trey won, it was, oh my god, it was the table that Sami set up. And he slipped on the sweat, but Sami set up the table, because that's a hidden, kind of rule in wrestling. If you set up the weapon, you're going to go through the weapon. If you didn't know that, here's a little tip. But I don't know. I just felt like it just didn't mesh well. It could have been better. I also think, I don't know, I kind of enjoyed the pacing of the card because I felt like it started off really hot and then the middle's the middle and then the end, of course I had to end with Swan and Omega. But, I don't know. This just wasn't it for me. I'm happy Trey won, but this just didn't do anything for me. And then my brothers lost, so I was more mad. So it was the Good Brothers versus Finn Juice, and I really thought the Good Brothers were going to win because then the Elite will have every single title. So I don't know what they're doing now. This was a really good tag team match. I felt like this was just one of those classic matches where the Good Brothers had their advantages, Finn Juice had their advantages. They were kind of in the ring nicely. Each tag team had their own spot to shine. This was just a really good classic match. This to me was actually my match of the card. Not just because my brothers were in it. I just thought it was really good. Kind of technical. Really fun. Luke just got stuck in a package. But I don't know what we do here. Because I figured, when Kenny was going to win, oh, now the Elite's going to have all the titles. And I know Finn Juice isn't signed. Now Impact is really losing all their titles. Because now they don't have a tag title. Now they don't have a world title. So I don't know. Maybe Finn Juice is signing? Then Deanna and Tennille with the return of Impact legend Taylor Wilde. This to me, this was a really technical women's match. They mentioned how they wrestled in NXT and Tennille beat Deanna before because that's when Tennille was with Dana at her prime in NXT before WWE decided to ruin her. But this was a really technical match. I was kind of I knew that Deanna was Susan and Kimberly were going to get involved, but I would have liked to have Deonna win clean, I guess. Because I just feel like looking down, like all the winners, this was very much heel-based winnings for Impact. And usually for a pay-per-view, you want to go 50 and 50 with like your baby faces and your heels, but I felt like this was just more heel-dominated. But yet again, I'm just assuming, because I haven't watched Impact in 15 million years, but based off like things I know and things I've seen, I feel like it's very heel-dominated. But this was a really good match. I thought it was fun. I love Caleb with the K. I think he's very funny. I liked how he was, like he pulled Kimberly out and then like fighting with Susan. So that was really good too. This was just a really technical match and I thought it was pretty good. I love Deonna's reign. I don't know what WWE was thinking with releasing her. Like really, she freaking won Impact Wrestler of the Year. And you let her go. Oof. And then of course, like as the match ended, all three of them were beating up to Neil, and then Taylor Wilde returned, and I'm really excited. I think it's like cool to see like Deonna face like all these legends like that, Jazz, and now Taylor Wilde. So it's really cool. Maybe we'll get Gail Kim out of retirement. I'm kidding. I mean, never say never in wrestling, right? And then we go into this very controversial main event. So I will admit it's not the best Impact World Heavyweight Championship match I've seen. There were a couple botches in there. I love that Morrow was on commentary. I feel like he just made the match so much more significant. I love him on commentary. I really do. I was so upset that I left WWE. I'm really hoping that, like, he can, like, get into AEW or Impact. But I also like speaking commentary because I said I was going to talk about the main event. I love the duo of Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown. I think they work really well together. And, you know, it's not, like, so robotic. You could tell, like, D'Lo's generally excited to be there, and Matt's really excited to be there, too. And that's so important when it comes to commentary. It's just not robotic and just saying exactly, like, what's on the screen. It's, you know, having a character and being like, oh, my God, this is crazy and insane. That's what you gotta do. So, well done. But, so, Don Callis is just the funniest person I've ever met in my life. I love every single thing he does on AEW or Impact Wrestling television. He's great. I like how both of them, like Rich and Kenny, both had like people in their corners because you knew like, that's when you know the pay-per-view's good, when we go over the 12 minutes. It wasn't the best World Heavyweight match I've seen, but I don't want to say like, it wasn't a botch fest. Like I thought it was really good. It got more fast-paced at the end. It was kind of technical in the beginning, and Omega really did have the advantage over Swan, and it just made it more obvious that Kenny was winning. If anyone thought Swan was winning, y'all crazy. But yeah, but I mean like the controversy is like how much is Kenny going to be on Impact, because you know, he's also Triple A champion, like he hasn't defended it. So my thing is, he can't defend the Triple A championship, because if I know correctly, I'm 95% sure like Mexico. And like, I don't think because of travel restrictions he could get down to Mexico. So there's your first issue. Because technically AAA and AEW don't have like a deal or anything. So that's why that can't happen. With at least these two companies being in the country. I know that in the press conference they like both Scott and Tony did say, you know, like whoever does win, like you are going to have to wrestle on the pay-per-views and stuff. So I'm not technically worried about like the TNA World Championship getting buried over the AEW championship, because the thing is also, it's not like the world title on AEW is defended every month where Impact is, because AEW only has 4 pay-per-views a year, and even like on the specials that they try to do every month, the AEW title is not always defended. So I'm not technically worried about that, but I don't, because everyone's like, oh, like what's Impact gaining from this? Impact's gaining more of a fan base, because Impact right now, and I will say this compared to when I started watching in 2010, Impact's roster is really talented. Like they have a lot of talented people down there that if like Kenny or the Good Brothers, or like if this AEW merge kind of didn't happen, I feel like not a lot of people will watch Impact. But now, like with Kenny, you have a whole AEW audience like, oh my god. Because I know for me personally, if Kenny wasn't challenging for this title and it was just a regular Impact pay-per-view, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But, you know, meaning that Kenny was wrestling, I was like, oh my god, I'll buy it and I'll watch it. So it gains more of a fan base for Impact, because remember, like, after they lost their Spike TV deal, Impact was struggling very much so, and they lost a lot of stars to WWE like AJ and Joe. So I feel like now they're getting a fan base. A lot of people get to see the talented up and coming superstars that TNA is building. So there is pros and cons to this. I mean, I obviously don't know the ultimate goal here. Like, is Tony gonna end up buying Impact, or like what kind of merge is actually going to happen between two companies? Because the only mergers we've really seen is between the Good Brothers and Kenny, you know, and Kenta, but Kenta's on New Japan. So I don't know. I thought but overall, I thought it was a really good pay-per-view. I think, like I said, I think Impact really has a really strong roster right now, and I like that people are tuning in to watch it, and, you know, it's a nice touch to, like, you know, your weekends. And it was, like, a nice refresher after Mania. Like, I liked it. I thought it was really good. But, yeah, so that's it for me. Make sure to like this video, comment what you guys thought about Rebellion, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. Make sure to click that bell for notifications and subscribe. And this is actually the last week that you guys will actually see me in this room because I'm moving out Saturday. And I'll be home all summer. More content, more fun. I'll see you tomorrow for our Raw review. And if Raw is not better than last week, then I'm going to punch a wall. Bye guys.